All right. We just got back from China last night, US time, after spending 2 weeks there. And I would love to share some of my thoughts about this trip while my memory is still fresh. So, to start with, my wife and I, we were pleasantly shocked by our kids expressing their emotions the night before we were scheduled to go to the airport. They literally broke down and started crying, telling us they didn't want to come back to the United States and that they were going to miss all the family, friends, and of course the fun they had in China. The reason I said pleasantly surprised was because it was definitely a bittersweet moment for them. I know deep down they wanted to come back to the United States to play with their friends, but at the same time, they are starting to get attached to their families and friends in China. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute. Before that, another quick side note on our trip back to America. Our flights connected in Seoul this time for the very first time. We flew from Shanghai to Incheon Airport and then from Incheon to Minneapolis. Well, I have to say that we didn't quite like the airport itself and the services, and it was almost a bit chaotic there, to be honest. We were surprised, though, by how smooth the trip was in terms of the number of door-to-door hours. We spent 27 hours door-to-door from the United States to China 2 weeks ago, but last night we were able to get home within just 20 hours. So that was a huge reduction of hours. So we might explore this route a little bit more down the road. All right, going back to my thoughts regarding our kids' emotions. It's always been one of my emotions too over all these years, especially during my college years. After summer, when I was getting ready to go back to America, I would get super sad. I have to say that my wife would say the same too over the years, right? But the thing is, we've grown used to these kind of emotions, and that's just part of the life that we live now as we chose to settle down here in the United States. But obviously, we have family members and close friends in China whom we love and care about so deeply. So I can relate to our kids' bittersweetness this time, which is the same kind that I had. So it's great that they're showing that, and also it's awesome to see the connections that my kids are developing with the family, their grandparents, the close relationship they've building with our friends' kids, our friends. So just to see the deep bond that they've developed with everybody. So it's great to see, and we're looking forward to going back next year again, hopefully. And hopefully we'll be able to get back every year, and they can continue to learn and appreciate the culture, and that's part of their identity as well. My second point, this time during our trip, I was very impressed by how services have improved. Well, I probably shouldn't use the word improve if that has been the case for those of you watching who live in China, but that's how I experienced this time. And what I mean by that is that we were very impressed by how well those ordinary everyday service providers at the hotels we stayed, those workers at the subway stations, the train stations, delivery guys, you name it, how they approach their life and their passion towards their mundane and not very well-paid jobs, in my opinion. I saw a lot of hope in them. I could see a lot of passion from them just going about their everyday life and work, and I really wanted to give them kudos for just simply doing their jobs and hanging in there. It's not easy. In my opinion, if you can be dedicated to the thing that you do and show your passion towards it, that's a very upbeat and noble attitude to have. And I believe that's what the country needs, especially China is trying to, during the time, China is trying to pivot to an economy model that's centered around services. I'm not saying everything's perfect, but that does give me hope and makes me proud. My third observation is that in China, we can just go out without your wallet. You can just go out with your phone. You don't even need to have your wallet around because everything is on your phone now. Your mobile wallet is in WeChat, and I certainly experienced this firsthand this year as well as last year. And I have to say it's been very convenient in a way that you can order food in an affordable, convenient way. Same with paying merchants and each other through WeChat or Alipay. However, I have to say that this year I started to feel like all these apps have become a little bit cumbersome or even intimidating to me in a way where there are just so many options in the apps, and I tended to get lost in them. So part of the core competencies that these apps have started to get lost on me in a way that I just don't think they're super user-friendly anymore. And maybe just me, but there are just so many wrinkles to it, especially when you go to a restaurant to purchase some food or a shop. They would ask you to follow them on WeChat, their public account, just to get some discounts and all that. So it's just a little bit more cumbersome. And also, I have to comment on the ubiquitous consumption when it comes to food deliveries and package deliveries. That certainly creates a lot of waste in terms of packaging. And also the fact that you can just scan your phone to purchase things. For younger generation, they might want to watch out in terms of developing their spending habit, because comparing to using a credit card or handing out cash, certainly you're not aware of sometimes you're not aware of the money, how much money you're spending on a daily basis. My fourth observation is that the traffic situation, or simply just getting around in China, has improved significantly over the last couple of years, last decade. In my hometown, they're finishing up their 8th subway, if I remember correctly. Getting around the city and the country has become so easy with the public transportation system, and that's really helped with the traffic situation. I'm not saying that there's no more congestions. I'm not saying people's driving habit has been perfect. But one thing I have to say, that with all these new subways and new tunnels they're building, there seems to be never-ending constructions going on. So that's certainly creating a lot of dust and is a source of pollution. So hopefully that will die down in the next couple of years in our city as these kind of projects wrap up. My last quick comment is about the kids' education in China when it comes to the so-called rat race or 内转 that every kid in China has to experience. I've certainly heard about it a lot, even from halfway across the world. And this time I had a lot of these kind of conversations with friends during dinners or just meetups, right? So it's just a reality in China that kids these days have to go through. Let's say, those tutoring sessions after school or over the weekend. They need to be better compared to their peers, so they need to constantly, improve themselves. So I understand there are a lot of parents contemplating their kids' options when it comes to decisions on whether they should send their kids overseas to receive middle or high school education or college education. So that's certainly a topic that I might explore down the road through more videos. So I just think that they're certainly going through a lot of peer pressures too, both for the parents and kids. So hopefully, myself included, as parents, we can really think about what's best for our kids. There might not be just one path to success. 我们昨晚从中国回来了，我们在国内待了将近有2个星期，趁现在记忆还很清晰，我想来分享一下我对这2周的感想。首先我对我和我太太对于我们孩子去机场前一晚释放的情绪有一点感到小惊讶，因为他们情绪有点崩溃，然后他们有哭，然后说不想回美国，他们会想中国的朋友和家人，所以对于他们来说可能是一个苦乐参半的时刻吧。然后我觉得我在美国已经待了17年了，之前在读大学的时候也几乎每一次回美国的假期之后回美国也会有同样的这个情绪，所以我其实也很开心我的孩子们在表达他们这样的情绪，其实很健康的一种情绪的释放。然后还有一点我感到非常欣慰的就是他们怎么说，他们就是说跟国内的我们的家人还有我们的朋友还有甚至他们的小孩在这一次他们有建立起非常深厚的感情，看到非常欣慰，所以我们希望以后也有机会的话 每年都带他们回去，然后也可以让他们继续欣赏和学习到中国的文化。即使他们在美国长大，这也是他们身份的一部分。然后我第二个观察就是，在这次旅行过程中，我对国内服务质量的提升感到非常的印象深刻。比如说我们住的酒店啊，还有地铁站的工作人员，火车站的工作人员，还有很多快递员，外卖小哥，我觉得他们对于生活的态度和对待自己平凡，也不算高薪的这种工作，这种热情，我非常敬佩他们。我可以看到在他们身上有对生活的这种热爱，其实是非常不容易的。我相信这正是现在这个社会需要，特别是在中国想要向服务为中心的这样一个经济模式的转型的这一个时段，其实是非常难能可贵的。然后不是说一切都非常完美，但是的确给人希望和鼓励。然后第三个观察就是说，在国内当然现在你出去都不需要带钱包，只需要带手机，然后我感觉到的确非常方便，但是我觉得今年我的体验，这些 APP 的体验，我觉得有一点打折扣，是因为选项实在太多了。因为我觉得有时候选项多并不是一件每一次都100%都会是一个很好的体验。有时候你选项很多，反而会给消费者造成在选择上面的会有一些困惑。然后还有就是很多比如说在餐厅或者在外面买东西的时候，很多公共场合他们会需要你加他们的公众号，然后你可以获得一些折扣，我觉得有一些麻烦。还有就是说在送外卖这方面，就是很多包装啊，我觉得有点过度包装，包括那些送快递，所以可能下来会对环境这方面可能会要大家思考一下。还有就是当你出去消费都变得非常方便，你就可以扫手机的时候，与此同时我觉得跟之前比如说10几20年前你出去需要刷卡或者付现金来比的话，可能消费更容易了。所以对于年轻人他们这些消费习惯的养成可能会需要考虑一下，可能尽量减少过度消费。然后第4个观察是，我觉得中国的现在国内的交通状况改善很多，特别是在苏州，现在他们在完成第8条铁路线，所以我不是说国内就没有堵塞了，但是就说出行会非常方便。然后唯一但是带来的缺点就是说，你很多工地在建造这些项目的时候会造成很多的灰尘，然后并且也可能会是污染的来源。所以希望在下来几年，随着这些项目的完成和结束，可能这方面会有所改善。然后最后我想谈的是，就是关于教育的问题，因为在国内跟朋友吃饭聊天会不可避免的会谈论到小孩的教育，然后关于内卷的话题，然后国内现在小孩子所要经历的这些升学的压力，包括家长的压力，我就是也有所了解。可能我下来也会做一些视频来探讨一下，所以我很理解很多父母在考虑他们小孩升学的时候，也会考虑到送他们小孩去国外读初中、高中还有大学，所以非常理解作为一个父母，然后也希望每个人还有他们小孩都会找到最好和最适合他们成长和学习的一条道路。好了，今天就分享那么多，下来可能会做一些 follow up 的视频，谢谢大家观看 ，Thanks for watching。